Right now, Knox County and Knoxville crews are out treating the roads as they prepare for forecasted snow this Friday. Of course, the top concern right now is slick roads. Meteorologist Tavian Whitehurst joins us in the studio to explain why we tend to see more ice instead of snow. Good morning.
Good morning, Heather. Now, a lot of times, we do usually see a lot more of that ice than usual, like we did with the event we saw last weekend compared to what we usually do. Just because a lot of times, depending on the track of these systems, they kind of put us right along that rain snow line, which we saw with this past event, which generally hung right around that Tennessee-Kentucky line. So that's why a lot of places further up in Kentucky did see a lot more of that snowfall. But what we saw was some warmer air starting to filter in from the south when it comes to our overall vertical profile. This graph, a little bit complex looking, but it's called a skew T. What you want to pay attention to is this red line, which is your temperature, and this green line, which is your dew point. We had a lot of moisture higher up in the atmosphere. Remember, when temperature and dew point are close together, that means we've got ample moisture in the air. So that was able to create a lot of the snow, but what we ended up seeing were two different things. One, this second thing that's circled here by the National Weather Service, this is a dry pocket that's closer down to the surface of the ground, which means it's going to evaporate a lot of that moisture and a lot of that snowfall before it actually makes it down to the surface. So it took us a while to actually start seeing our precipitation area wide, but also if you look at this kind of bump that sits right around here, that's indicating that we had some warmer air that started to roll in. This right here is 0 degrees Celsius, which is going to be freezing, which if you get anything above freezing, that's going to melt what would normally be snow and turn it into a little bit of that ice fall. And usually what we end up seeing are those cooler temperatures right around those earlier hours, but by the time the ice started to fall, we had temperatures that were sitting right around freezing. So whenever we have any injection of that warmer air, we're going to get more of a mixed precip than we usually do, which is why we saw a lot of that freezing rain and sleet. But this time, Rebecca, we're looking at a lot more of that snow, which is why this is a lot more fun of a forecast.
I was going to say, now you're kind of getting an inside depth as to how we forecast some of these events. But with this event, folks, we have a much colder temperature profile that's going to be moving into the region, which means rather than seeing any freezing rain, this is likely going to be an all snow event. I do want to quickly talk about some of the impacts and the timing that we have. So snow is potentially going to be moving into the area mid to late morning as we go into your Friday. This will last basically all day Friday. And as we saw yesterday, folks, now that the ground surface temperatures are nice and cold, this snow is going to stick and it is going to create some concerns on the roads. Travel is not going to be recommended as we go into your Friday and as we carry on into your Saturday morning. Quickly talking about the Futurecast model for the rest of the day today. Again, it's going to be relatively quiet. Could see a few isolated flurries try to sneak their way into the region as we go into the evening hours. But as we focus our attention on Friday, check it out. By Friday morning, we'll start to see things cranking up across the region. And once it makes its way into the area, this is forecast to be an all snow event. Oh, and it's going to be awesome, folks. In fact, some models giving us some incredible snowfall totals. We could see potentially in parts of the Central Valley 3 to 5 inches plus of snow. We'll have more coming up in just a little bit. Ladies.
All right, thank you.